More extraordinary details are emerging tonight about Canadian Special Forces who came under direct fire from ISIS fighters this week, leading to a lengthy battle unseen in the 18 months Canadians have been deployed to northern Iraq. As many as 300 militants attacked 3 separate sites in a coordinated ambush Wednesday afternoon. They fired on Kurdish forces and Canadians training them with machine guns, truck bombs, and suicide attacks. The fight continued for 17 hours, but eventually the ISIS militants were pushed back, assisted by coalition airstrikes, which included Canada's CF-18s. No Canadians were injured, but this attack is raising another question about whether Canada's CF-18 should stay in the fight against ISIS. CULLEN has that.
This was the biggest attack Canadians have faced here. The military says it involved hundreds of ISIS fighters, including suicide bombers. But they fought through the night, and that by the end, the local Kurdish forces, with their Canadian trainers at their side, regained the territory they lost during the assault.
It shows the training assist mission is working. This is a good example of that.
About 70 Canadian Special Forces are in Iraq in what's called an advise and assist role, not combat. The military is clear that this time Canadians were shooting at ISIS targets and that some of their allies, Kurdish fighters in the same battle, were killed. Still, the military isn't calling this altercation combat.
And they need to be able to defend not only themselves, but the forces with which they are training and providing assistance.
But this was a combat situation.
This was an engagement where they had to be able to return fire effectively.
And while Justin Trudeau has pledged to end Canada's combat mission by pulling Canada's fighter jets from the region, he wants more trainers.
Obviously, we committed throughout the campaign, and I've committed repeatedly to my allies that we were going to do more on the training front, and that means obviously more than just 69 trainers.
As for those jets, they proved useful in this fight.
I am aware that our CF-18s have played a significant role, and they just happened to be on station at that time. But the plan remains the same.
The Conservatives who sent the planes to Iraq and Syria in the first place say this latest battle is proof they should stay.
What we're doing today is something that we've been doing for the past year because it's what was asked of us of our coalition partners led by the United States. And that same goes back to what happened in Afghanistan. We always work as part of a coalition.
The Liberals have said they're pulling the planes because Canada can be more effective in other ways, like that plan to increase the number of trainers. Canada's former top soldier has some questions about that.
I have not heard the clear articulation yet of why we would bring home those F-18s.
Now there's also the question of when. Trudeau has said he would pull the planes from the coalition bombing effort by March. That's when the one-year commitment made by the Conservatives would end. But now the defense minister has told the Huffington Post that it could take up to 6 months. That would put us in June. Now his office says that negotiations with allies are still ongoing and there's no specific timeline yet. Wendy?
Thanks, Catherine. Catherine Cullen in Ottawa.